Hey, my sister. Today I'm coming to you from my walk-in closet because there are so many lawnmowers and leaf blowers and weed whackers happening right outside my apartment that there's no way I can record this out there. So here I am with a heartfelt message for you. Welcome to your Daily Whisper. Kara Bradley here. Boy, oh boy, I love where I'm headed, I have to tell you. I am feeling better than I have to tell you, in 5 years. Because so much seems to be clicking into place for me, and I want to share it all with you. Today I want to talk to you about promises. Promises to yourself. And it comes from my own personal experience. I've recently made some big changes. No, I nix that. Delete. Some small changes. Incremental changes in how I move and how I eat. And those incremental changes are reaping huge benefits in my energy, in my confidence, in how I feel physically, in how I feel overall. And I'm not going to get into the specifics. If you want specifics of what I'm doing, please make sure that you download my best practices in the show notes. That's going to give you access to a ton more content than just these daily whispers. But what I want to get to today is what flipped the switch for me to finally take it up a notch. It was something I read. I can't even remember where. It might have been my friend Stephen Cutler's book, Gnar Country, Gnar Country. I'm going to put a link in the show notes if you're interested. It's about peak performance aging. And Stephen is just a masterful writer. But he asked the question, can you keep a promise to yourself? And it really kind of blew the lid off of everything I was doing. And I thought about it. And I thought about the promises that I had made to myself over my 59 years and ones I hadn't kept. And I thought, well, how about I start to build that muscle of keeping promises to myself? It's like building any other muscle, whether it be a physical muscle or a mental muscle or how we work muscle. We need to repeat. We need to continue to challenge ourselves a little bit at a time, and we need to stress ourselves. We need to get uncomfortable. It's how our body and our brain and our mind grow stronger. We adapt and grow stronger. So I have been practicing building the promise muscle to myself. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. You have to start small. Super small. 1 inch, he says, Stephen. 1 inch at a time. 1 inch at a time. And I believe James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, another great read, he talks about it as well. He talks about how he started practicing a promise to himself, and he may not use those exact words, by doing 1 push-up a day. 1. It sounds so silly, right? But it wasn't, because that 1 push-up and that promise kept built confidence, built motivation, built physical strength, so that he was able to add and add and add and get stronger in so many ways beyond just building chest muscles. So what did I do? Well, for me, a few months ago, I might have talked about it here, gave up sugar. And by giving up sugar, and that doesn't mean 100%, it means 90 to 95%. Because I don't believe in extremes. You can't stay with it. But I gave up the constant habit of just popping things that had sugar in my mouth. So I gave up sugar, and that led to giving up alcohol, really almost completely. Maybe a glass of wine a week or a beer a week. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm just giving you my process because I believe it's so helpful, as I learned from my friend Stephen, his process. It's so helpful to learn each other's processes. So the giving up the sugar, just, I didn't go cold turkey. I started giving it up at night first. I started to then look at the other things I was eating that had sugar in it. It built incrementally, but I made a promise to myself. Just because, we hear every day, probably, that refined sugar is toxic to our being, not only our physical health, but our mental health. And I wanted to stop pretending. And I wanted to see if I could keep a promise to myself. Well, the amazing thing is that ended up leading into alcohol, because alcohol, let's face it, wine is like completely sugar and alcohol. So I really have started to look at this idea of keeping a promise to myself. And it is paying off dividends. Let me tell you, I feel so much better in so many ways. I just feel stronger. I've dropped some weight that I've carried. I still have some to go, I have to tell you. I just feel more confident because I allowed myself to work in small increments. I put my hand on my heart and said, Kara, you can do this for you. This is for you and you only. Keep a promise to yourself. And so today I want to encourage you to think about that one promise. Keep it small, inch by inch, one push-up at a time. What is the promise that you want to make to yourself and keep? What is the promise that will give you the confidence to perhaps go bigger in other areas of your life? One little promise, one push-up a day, right? One mindful meal a day can reap huge benefits in your life, and not only health-wise, but it can impact everything. It's these small behavioral changes. I have this favorite phrase that I wrote about in my book, and it simply is to start small, stay steady, and build from there. And it is proving true for me in my own life. And I like to think about it in terms of promise, because I deserve to be, I don't know how the right phrase is, but I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve to keep promises to myself. And so do you. So I would love to know, what promise are you going to keep? What is that one thing that you're going to do or not do today? Put your hand on your heart, say it out loud right now. Go ahead. And it might not always be comfortable. It's okay if it's not uncomfortable to start inch by inch, but you will soon find out that you will start to push the edges and grow stronger. And this feeds on itself. And then, my friend, the sky's the limit. I'm so honored to be here with you. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, grab hold of those best practices. There's a link right there in the show notes. A couple of other things you can do. Share this with a friend if you think it might be helpful. And I'd be so grateful if you left a review for Daily Whispers. Until next time, go out there, go shine brightly, because the world really needs you to shine.